afternoon, everybody. This is Trey, getting back in touch with you from a drizzly Japan. The garden is loving the drizzle, and I hope you're doing very well wherever you are in the world. Today, I wanted to take a quick look, just a little quick look at Apple. It's kind of pre-earnings. They're going to announce stuff in the next couple of days, but with Apple, we don't expect things to change super wildly during earnings, but I wanted to just take a little look at it. Hopefully this video doesn't end up being 2 hours long like my Tesla video yesterday. But some little history for you first. I grew up building computers. I built my first computer when I was 6. My older brother is kind of a gangster when it comes to that kind of stuff. I was building computers my whole life. I was all about, getting your own box, getting all the graphics card, and getting, making it all custom and doing it as cheap as possible to get the most bang for your buck. I had been a Windows user for life, loved it, no real complaints really. I tried out the Mac. It was the white MacBook that came out when I was in college, and every human got it. And I tried it out and it was good. And then I eventually went back to Windows, used Windows forever, and got an iPhone after I moved to Japan. I was the iPhone 3G, and I haven't left iPhone since then. And once I really started getting serious about entrepreneurialism and running my own company and stuff like that, I took the jump, I took the switch to a Mac computer once again, and then I never looked back. And now, you come into my house and it's Apple, trees and Apple, knives. It's Apple everything, dude. And I know all of the arguments against Apple. I know all of the reasons why it's stupid, but it's so good. And I think that's one of the really unanalyzable factors when you're looking at the Apple stock. It's really, really a lot of analysts, you read the reports and they're like, Apple has no moat. Their only moat is that they're really big and they can get cheap stuff from suppliers, kind of thing. But in my mind, when you're looking at Apple, when you're analyzing Apple, when you're thinking about their stock price or as an investment, you have to factor in that switching or not be I can't ever switch again, I think, we went through a few years where Mac computer keyboards, everybody's keyboards were breaking. I'm just going to keep my 2015. I love it, and now that 2020 or 19 things are out, I love them because they fixed the keyboard, So there are a lot of different things to think about when analyzing the Apple stock, but when we think about a moat, and a moat is, imagine, an old school castle in the Middle Ages. You have this river around your castle to defend against the enemies, and if you have a super wide moat, they can't get in, so you're safe. In the same ways, we talk about companies like that. We say they have a wide moat, a narrow moat, no moat, and a lot of people are just kind of no, Apple's stupid, it doesn't have a moat, it can be taken out quickly or easily with no big deal. And at the same time, we're looking at the stock price, compare March, the lows in the March collapse because of the pandemic, all the way up to now. It's guys, are we crazy? Does it really need to go this high? Have earnings changed that much? A bunch of your stores are closed down. What's the deal, bro? And, people are kind of sell, What's the deal? Well, how should we think about Apple? Should we buy some? Should we not buy some? Should we be selling? And we also have to think about 5G technology coming soon. We talk about the Apple iPhone. Here is my iPhone acting as a monitor for me right now. I use my iPhone 39 hours a day. But iPhones are great. But they talk about that being the crown jewel of Apple's ecosystem. It's the entry point for people getting into Apple and starting to love Apple. People love the iPhone because it's not cheap, don't get me wrong, so it's not accessible or feasible for everybody, but people love it because you get into it, it's so easy to use, it never breaks down, it actually lasts many years and stuff like that, and then you can sell it for a pretty good price. Apple is also known for not being on the bleeding edge of hey, we're the first ones to offer 5G, or hey, we're the first ones to offer, Face ID or touch login or things like that. Everybody knows that. Nobody cares. Or not nobody cares. Sorry, I take that back. A lot of people do care. People like me and the billion other Apple fanboys really don't. They're we'd rather have it work every time and be solid than be on the cutting edge, And so This is a really, really big factor I think we have to factor in, and actually you can't put a value, you can't put a number, you can't say like, oh, the stock price should be $430 because that guy on YouTube like loves the company or something like that. You can't value it like that. So it's really, really tricky when looking at the stock price. I'm going to go into a lot more detail on Apple in the coming probably weeks, especially after earnings. I know there are a lot of people who are just kind of getting into the stock market, just kind of getting into stocks and things like that. But for now, what do we have to think about? How should we think about the stock price of Apple? Let's look at that chart again that I showed earlier. Absolutely bonkers growth. Apple is one of these companies that's one of the biggest companies in the world. It's one of the most valued brands in the world. Apple is indeed one of the highest market cap companies in the world. And one of the really interesting dynamics we're seeing right now is that a larger and larger amount of investment happening in the world is being concentrated on a smaller and smaller group of companies. And when the entire world knows and loves Apple, a lot of people are just going to invest in Apple. It's pretty fair to say that if you just bought an Apple stock every month for the rest of your life, I'm pretty sure you're going to be pretty good, That being said, I personally have been one of those people, that buy in regularly to Apple. As I mentioned in yesterday's Tesla video, there's such thing as dollar costing in. There's also such thing as dollar costing out, and which I don't mind doing because I'm a little bit more of an active investor. If you're a passive investor and you're just kind of like, I'm going to just buy stuff and forget about it, I'm just going to watch it grow, and then in 30 or 40 years, look at how it's gone from like $300 to like $3,000 or whatever. Don't worry about selling it. It's going to do fine. We're seeing in general more subscription-related services that Apple is offering, like Apple Music, Apple Games, iCloud subscriptions are becoming, bigger and more varied and more expensive. And they're also putting a lot of effort into their Apple TV thing that they're really pushing as well. It's hard to say when it comes to those types of creative type of businesses, Hollywood, Netflix, all included. It's hard to say, you put in this much money and you will get this many results. You sell one iPhone, you get this much profit. It's hard to say that. But we can see in general that those types of recurring services are becoming a larger and larger part of Apple's income. If you're enjoying the video so far, please stop to leave a like, please leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking about Apple. And if you would like to hear follow-up videos in the future, please subscribe as well. Thank you very much. And then, also, I don't know if these are connected. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. Johnny Ive, who was like their design guy forever, ended up leaving, I think it was last year, or much earlier in this year. But soon after that, we started to see all these products come out like, wow, they fixed the keyboard and it doesn't suck anymore. Or they changed the touch bar and it doesn't suck anymore. And a lot of Apple fanboys are like, wow, for the first time, it actually seems like Apple's listening. I don't know if Johnny Ive leaving is connected to that. Maybe he was kind of holding things down to his own design language or something like that. I don't know. But a lot of people's joy and fanboyism has been rekindled in these last few months, it feels like, And to add on top of that, Apple just announced, I think it was last week, how they're going to ditch Intel's processors for the computers and start using their own processors. Hopefully that will bring either or costs down and margins up, or just margins up. Either way, as a stockholder, you win. It might suck if you're trying to buy their products for cheaper. Not really sure. But it'll be really interesting to see if Apple gets really, really into this and it starts becoming a big thing, in 5-10 years down the line, they're kind of competing with somebody as big as Intel in the microprocessor realm. That could be another huge factor for Apple. We also know that Apple has infinity cash. Cash is really good in this climate right now. That's also a really big source of relief for investors right now, and that's probably also another reason the stock just keeps going up. We've seen things like Warren Buffett where he's like, I don't understand technology. Oh wait, but Apple, that's cool. I'm going to buy that. And then, a lot of people just kind of mimic what Warren Buffett's doing and saying and thinking and just buy into Apple. So again, long story short, I think you'll be okay. If you're going to be buying and holding Apple long term, you're going to be fine. There is no indication that Android is about to take over or anything like that. And on the flip side, if you are somebody who likes to be more active in your trading, probably not the best time right now. I don't think these prices can stay as high as they are. Granted, the PE ratio is only like 30 at the moment, which isn't that bonkers, but considering the rise that we've seen in the last couple months. I think you have some breathing room. You can wait. You can hold on a bit, perhaps. If you're a dividend player, don't waste your time with Apple. It's not the most delicious or appealing dividend. But if you're kind of like looking for capital growth and a little bit of dividend on the side, I'm kind of like that sometimes, then Apple is not a bad choice. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Please share what you think. Do you think it's like a terrible time to get into Apple right now? Do you think it's a really good time? Let me hear your thoughts. Looking forward to the next video soon. Thank you very much.